everybody, this is Dave Nassi with NextLevelGuitar.com, and today what we're going to talk about is some fun fret tapping examples that you can do that are in the styles of Eddie Van Halen, and we're going to outline our pentatonic shapes when we go through these examples, and we're going to stick to E minor, and we're going to also talk about some fun classic arena rock things that we could do to end our sequences. Dive bombs. And some good tremolo bar techniques as well, right? They're always a good way to kind of cap off your licks, especially if we're focusing in a rock setting, right? All right, before I forget, if you click on that link below that you see in the YouTube text box, and you would like a free video lesson that is not available on YouTube, and as well you get a free ebook that has over 21 diagram scale shapes, go ahead and click on that link below that you see in the YouTube text box. So what we're going to do is we're going to tap in E minor pentatonic. So I'll go ahead and outline the scale shape for you. Scale shape, of course, in E minor, first position, starting on our 12th fret, looks just like this. Now, one question you might be having to yourself is, how are we going to fret tap that particular shape, right? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to incorporate a couple of the pentatonic shapes just on the high strings in this particular situation, where we're going to be on our B and E strings, and we're going to use those in addition to that shape, and from there we'll get some really cool movement. So the lick that we're going to talk about to start with is this. And then, right? So as I said, we took the very first position of our pentatonic scale, focusing on the higher strings here on our B and our E. We got those two notes, but if you notice with my right hand, what I'm tapping is up here on the 17th fret, and that is going to outline a different position of pentatonic, and that whole pentatonic scale looks like this. Alright, so when we're fret tapping these licks, the first thing you want to think about is, what are we going to do with our pick? And very, very eloquently, what we're going to do is we're going to tuck it and hide it right here in between my third finger and the palm of my hand. So the motion of this is really, really simple. It's like a magic trick. You got your pick here, you tuck it away, and we're holding it in this part of our hand. So this will enable you to be able to go from whatever lick you're executing prior to your fret tapping, and then you switch it and you put it right there in your hand here. That's really, really crucial to think about, and it's pretty important because oftentimes when you practice fret tapping, people will just go ahead and put their pick down altogether. So we want to make sure that we get out of the habit of doing that. So another thing to think about is bracing with our thumb on our right hand on the upper part of our neck here, so that way we have some stability when we go ahead and we execute the lick. So really simply, if we just take the first part of it on our second string, I'm tapping the first part of this on the 17th fret with my right hand, and I'm pulling off to my index finger on the second string, 12th fret. Right? And then of course I get my 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Your basic flow and motion of fret tapping. So what's cool and what is different about this is I'm actually going to bar with my first finger across the 12th fret to cover my B and E strings, and I'm going to alternate between what's happening on the second string and what's happening on the first string, and we're just going to replicate the exact same movement. Same frets and everything. Right? Really cool classic Eddie Van Halen style of a lick, right? And what we could do is just start with that very, very simply, and then we're going to embellish it and add to it and add to it and cover some different things that we do here when we're fret tapping, and you know, there's a lot of various techniques and things that go along with it. Another thing that we're going to do here and add to this lick is we're going to do a series of pull-offs on the high E string. There's going to be one note that is different than in the pentatonic scale, but it's really cool when we apply it to the previous sequence that we've done here, outlining our shape. So what we have here is we're going to be tapping on the 17th fret, or our A note, on the high E, and we're going to pull off to our G note, to F sharp, and then to E. So that gives us this. So that's pretty simple to do, right? But one thing that you can do that tricks it up a little bit and adds a nice little feel to it is you can tap the note twice to start and then pull off those next three notes. So that's going to give you this. So what I did there is I just mixed it up. I tapped it one time, and then I did my sequence of pull-offs, and then I tapped it twice, and then I went ahead and did my sequence of pull-offs. And when you put that with what we did just a moment ago, where we were fret tapping, barring with our index finger on the B and E strings, that gives you a really, really cool Eddie Van Halen style lick that sounds just like this. Right? Really, really cool. But we're not done yet. There's more that you can add to it, right? So, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our right hand and we're going to physically slide down the string as we execute the pull-off with our fret tapping, right? So, on our second string is where I'm going to choose to do this, right? So, I'm going to be sliding from 17, sliding out, and I'm going to be hammering from the B note on the 12th fret and up to the D note. And that's going to be like this. Listen to that slide. Now I'm still using the exact same feel with my right hand, where I'm making sure and exaggerating the motion initially to get the pull off, but it makes it so it's really, really clean. Right? So when you put that together, right? A real classic Eddie Van Halen lick and technique. So, we're not done yet though. We got one more thing to add, and that of course is a cool dive bomb and artificial harmonic that we can do here with our tremolo bar. So to pull this off, what I'm doing for my raking motion is I'm very lazily laying my middle finger and my first finger across the D, A, and E strings to knock those guys out of the mix. And again, third finger, third fret, right on that G string. So, to execute this, what we're going to do is we're going to go for a pinch harmonic with our right hand. Now to talk about how to execute that right, that is a really gentle motion where you get the thumb and your pick to hit the string at the same time, right? So when I do this, I can even show you right here with my hand. I'm hitting the string right here with this part of my thumb, right at the very, very tip of my pick. If you look here, I'm only going to show about that much of my pick. I'm going to tilt it at a 45-degree angle, and the flesh of my thumb is going to hit right on that pick at the same time, and that's going to give me this kind of effect. What's really cool about artificial harmonics and the dynamic that can happen with them, they sound completely different no matter where you play them on the guitar. So, again, thinking about the tension of the guitar, you have the tighter strings back here to give you a real high pitch. Moving forward, it sounds a little bit different no matter where you play it. So anything this cool has to have the tremolo bar on top of it, right? So we can dive bomb that sucker in pitch. So when you just hit a regularly played artificial harmonic and you dive bomb, it sounds like this. Right? Now the way that I'm holding the tremolo bar, this is really, really important as well. I'm remaining to hold the pick is exactly as if I'm still alternate picking a lick or executing a riff. And I'm putting my three fingers here on my right hand to just gently hold the front end of the bar here, and that allows me to focus with my wrist in the depressing motion of the bar, and it gives me a lot more control that way. Right? Now, those extra little percussive sounds that you hear is the raking motion that I'm doing right into that. With my left hand, I have my left hand slightly muting out some of these strings, and I'm holding just that single note, and I rake into it with my right hand, and I get a good amount of control and a nice resonance with that artificial harmonic. So, to put some Eddie Van Halen spin on this, we're going to bend that harmonic up a whole step, and then dive bomb with our tremolo bar. Again, one more time. Right? Now if we want to give it the classic horse effect, what we're going to do is we're going to execute it just like this. Right? What I'm doing is I'm doing the quick jerking motion with my right hand, all the while still keeping enough control to depress the bar at the same time. And that gives you this. So when you tie all this together and we feel like we're Eddie Van Halen, this is what it's going to sound like. Alright everybody, this is Dave Nasty with NextLevelGuitar.com, and I appreciate you checking it out.